Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. A calling to release what God has ended. Welcome, beloved. Take a deep breath. Quiet your heart. God has brought you here for a reason, to bring peace where there's been turmoil and clarity where confusion has lingered. You've been trying to hold together what keeps falling apart. You've prayed, cried, and tried to fix something that keeps breaking. But what if God is the one allowing it to end? Some endings are not failures, they're divine redirections. There are relationships, friendships, and situations that once had purpose, but their season has passed. You've poured your heart out, hoping they would change, hoping love or loyalty would be enough to heal what's been wounded. But hear this truth: when God is finished with something, no amount of effort can resurrect it. What He ends in love. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Not every person is meant to walk with you into the next chapter. Some were only assigned to a moment, not a lifetime. And when you try to force longevity in what was meant to be temporary, pain becomes your teacher. The more you patch what God is pruning, the more your peace slips away. God's love doesn't always look like addition. Sometimes it looks like subtraction. He removes what hinders your growth, even when your heart doesn't understand. Letting go is not rejection, it's redirection. It's God saying, I have more for you, but your hands are too full of what I already asked you to release. This message isn't about loss, it's about liberation. It's an awakening, a gentle yet firm reminder that sometimes closure doesn't come in explanation, but in surrender. God isn't asking you to fix it. He's inviting you to trust Him with it. By the end of this message, your spirit will know peace, not the peace that comes from having it all together, but the peace that comes from letting it all go. Chapter 1. Recognizing when God is ending something. Every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted will be uprooted. Matthew 15:13, NKJV. Sometimes God begins to remove what we keep trying to repair. It starts quietly. The conversations grow shorter. The connection feels strained. The peace you once felt begins to fade. You sense the shift, but you fight it. You tell yourself it's just a rough patch, that if you pray harder, love deeper, hold tighter, things will return to how they used to be. But deep down, your spirit knows. Something sacred has shifted. There are moments when God, in His mercy, begins to separate you from what can no longer serve your destiny. He doesn't do it to punish you. He does it to protect you. Yet we resist, mistaking His pruning for punishment, His silence for abandonment. But beloved, when God is ending something, you will feel unrest where there used to be peace. You'll find yourself trying to force conversations that no longer flow, maintain connections that no longer align, and revive what God has already released. The truth is, what God plants, He sustains, and what He ends, He no longer anoints. When His grace lifts from a thing, no matter how familiar or dear, your efforts will always end in exhaustion. You'll feel it, the drain, the striving, the constant disappointment. That's not love failing you, that's God freeing you. Discernment begins with surrender. Ask Him, Lord, is this you closing a door, or is this me refusing to let go? Because not every ending is the enemy's attack. Sometimes it's God's rescue. He knows what your heart cannot yet understand. Some relationships can't go where He's taking you. The same door you're crying over may be the one He's closing to lead you into peace. So pause, Breathe. Instead of fixing what's falling apart, ask for the courage to release what no longer carries His presence. When you recognize His hand in the ending, you'll finally see the beginning He's been preparing all along. Chapter 2. When holding on hurts your healing. Let go of the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Isaiah 43:18-19, NIV. There is a kind of pain that doesn't come from being broken. It comes from refusing to heal. You keep holding on, not because it's helping, but because you're afraid to release what once made you feel whole. You replay memories, reread messages, revisit moments that no longer exist, hoping something will reignite. But every time you reach back, you reopen what God has been trying to close. Healing cannot begin where you refuse to let go. God cannot pour new oil into hands still clutching old wounds. You can't ask for peace while protecting what keeps you in pain. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is walk away quietly and let God do the mending only time and surrender can bring. You don't have to keep explaining, defending, or justifying your decision to move on. When God says, enough, it's not cruelty, it's mercy. Holding on will cost you more than letting go ever will. It takes faith to stop fighting for what's familiar and start trusting God for what's next. Your healing begins at the point of release. The same God who gave you strength to love will give you strength to leave. So let go, beloved. Release it with grace. You're not abandoning something sacred. You're making room for something new. What God ends, He replaces with peace. Chapter 3. When love becomes an idol. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 23, NKJV. Love is a beautiful gift, but when it takes God's place in your heart, it becomes bondage. Sometimes we cling so tightly to a person that we unknowingly build an altar around them, centering our peace, purpose, and identity on their presence. We call it love, but it's dependence. And anything that takes the throne of your heart from God will eventually break you. God never intended for you to worship what He created. Relationships were meant to complement your purpose, not complete it. When your happiness lives or dies by someone else's actions, your soul becomes captive to their approval. That's not love. That's idolatry in disguise. He loves you too much to let you stay there. So when He begins to remove what you've elevated above Him, it may hurt, but it's holy. He's not taking something from you. He's taking you back to Himself. The most powerful love story is not between two people. It's between you and your Creator. When He becomes your first love again, every other relationship falls into divine alignment. Don't let a temporary attachment cost you an eternal connection. Release what competes with God. Let Him heal the places where love became a chain. Freedom begins when you love God more than what you're afraid to lose. Chapter 4. The danger of ignoring God's red flags. Test all things. Hold fast what is good. 1 Thessalonians 5:21, NKJV. God speaks through peace, boundaries, and wisdom. When He sets limits or sends warnings, ignoring them can lead to heartbreak. Often, we dismiss red flags in relationships, thinking love should conquer all. But love without discernment is blind. Repeated lies, disrespect, or emotional distance are not challenges to work through. They are signs. When God signals a stop, pushing forward is not faith, it's stubbornness. Every ignored warning prolongs pain and delays the blessing He has prepared. Beloved, it is holy to say no. It is righteous to walk away. God's red flags are mercy disguised as discomfort. Pay attention. Listen. Protect your heart. He who guards your spirit will never mislead you. Honor his voice, even when it means letting go. Chapter 5. Trusting God over your emotions. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5, NKJV. Emotions are powerful, but they can be deceiving. Your heart may beg for reconciliation, your mind may replay memories of better times, yet God often calls you to move on, despite how you feel. Clinging to feelings over faith can trap you in cycles of pain. God's perspective is higher than yours. He sees the unseen consequences, the hidden motives, and the paths that lead to true blessing. Your emotions will fluctuate, but His word is steady. When He says, release it, obeying Him, even when your heart protests, is an act of trust and surrender. Beloved, freedom comes when faith outweighs feelings. Let God guide your steps, not the ache of your heart. Healing begins when you say, Lord, I trust you more than my emotions. Walk forward courageously. Your heart will catch up with your faith, and your peace will replace the longing that once held you captive. Chapter 6. Healing begins where letting go starts. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147, verse 3, NKJV. True healing begins the moment you release what God never intended for your life. Holding on to a relationship that's over only prolongs pain and stalls your purpose. Letting go is not weakness, it's obedience. God's timing is perfect. When you surrender your grip, He fills the emptiness with peace, clarity, and hope. Each step away from what hurt you is a step toward freedom. Beloved, the place of release is sacred. Here, God restores your heart, renews your spirit, and prepares you for relationships aligned with His will. Trust Him. Let go. Heal. Chapter 7. Walking boldly into God's plan. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11, NKJV. Your past relationships do not define your future. God has a perfect plan for your life, full of peace, purpose, and joy. When you stop trying to fix what He meant to end, you open the door to blessings He has prepared. Walking boldly means trusting His timing, honoring His guidance, and refusing to return to. Beloved, God's plan for your life is greater than any relationship that ended or caused pain. Stand firm in His wisdom and timing. Declare with authority, I will not try to fix what God meant to end. I release the past, I embrace healing, and I trust God's perfect plan for my life. My heart is guarded, my spirit is free, and I will walk boldly into the blessings He has prepared for me. Every step you take in obedience honors God and ushers in peace, clarity, and divine purpose. Your future is radiant with hope. The chains of heartbreak are broken. Your heart is restored. Speak life over yourself. Trust God's guidance and walk forward in freedom. Beloved, rise, heal, trust, and live fully in the plan God has designed just for you.